What's going on, guys? Storm6678 back with another video. So as you can tell from the title, I'm going to be doing a new series on how to edit in Sony Vegas Pro. Now this video specifically is going to be the super basic, so if you already know kind of more advanced stuff, you can click on my channel, go to my playlist, and look at more specific effects. But for this series specifically, we're going to start from the very bottom, and then we're going to move up towards more advanced stuff and build off of everything in this series. Now, if you guys are new to editing, Sony Vegas is a wonderful software to use. I'll be making a tutorial next week on how to download the software for free. That'll be linked in the description once I get that video up, so you guys can check that out. But right now we are using Vegas Pro 16. All right, Sony Vegas Pro. So this is the layout. Right here in the bottom, kind of the middle, you have your project media, explorer, transitions, video effects, and media generations. Now project media, to start, is where you're going to import all your media. So if I click on this right here, import media, it'll bring up this folder, like any folder, and you can just click on it, double click, and it'll bring that video into your project. Now, to start editing it, all you need to do is you need to drag it down to your timeline. So this right here, this little square box right here, is considered your timeline. Now, it asks you if you want to set your project video settings to match this media. I typically press no, just in case the video is lower than what you want the output to be. So I press no, and then boom, here you go. Now this cursor that you have on your timeline, geez, that was loud. This cursor you have on your timeline, you can use to scrub back and forth through, and you can click where you want to look at the video. And then if you want to start from the beginning, you just click at the beginning of the clip and then press spacebar to play the video through. Now obviously right here in the top right, this is going to be your preview window. All right. So this is where you're going to see whatever you have in your timeline, whatever this cursor is going to go through. Now for a lot of people who just get into editing, if you're editing on a laptop, you're going to want to change this preview quality to something lower than best full. So when I first started, I used to have mine on draft full or on preview quarter. All right, and it's going to be a little bit harder to see what's going on, but that is perfectly fine because it's not going to be the final output. It's just so you can see it in real time, especially if you have you know, a lower end PC or you're on a laptop. So that just helps you with your preview. Now that we have kind of the basics on importing media and taking everything into your project, we're going to go over the project settings themselves. So right here in this top left corner of the preview window, you're going to have your project video properties. So if I click on this, it'll bring up this properties tab, and we're only going to worry about the video right now, okay? So right now I have a custom template. The width is 1920 by 1080. That should be the standard for whatever video you're making. You can alter that for different looks and stuff, but we'll get into that at a later video. So this is going to be the default 1920 by 1080. That means 1080p. And then your frame rate is going to be at 30 FPS. Now you can change this to whatever you want. I typically render in 24 FPS. So you're going to want to click that or have 24 FPS as kind of like what you're viewing as. That's basically like the standard or the best frames per second, I would say, for your video. If you're doing something more like a sports video or something that's a little bit more action-packed in real life, then you would want to click this and do 60 FPS, which is this 59.940 selection right here. But since we're doing a video game, 24 FPS is perfect. Stereoscopic 3D mode does not need to be on. The pixel format's going to be 8-bit. You don't need to worry about this stuff. Now, right here, the full resolution rendering quality, you always want it to be best, all right? The motion blur type doesn't matter too much, but Gaussian is my favorite. You don't need to worry about the de-interlace method. The resample mode, now you want to keep disable resample on. So this it's kind of a weird thing that the video does when it resamples itself. It kind of catches up in the frames. So you want to make sure that disable resample is on. Adjust source media to better match project or render settings. You're going to have that checked off. And then preference files folder. It can be whatever you want, but usually the default is A-OK. Now the audio, I don't really touch the audio at all. I let it be. The ruler I don't touch that either. Summary, it can be like you can save your project properties and have a description here, but I don't touch that either. And then audio CD, you can ignore as well. So video is the only one we're gonna worry about. And if you want to save this preset, you just click this little save template file or button, and it already exists, so I'm not gonna save that. But after you have all those adjustments in your project settings, you're gonna click apply, and then you're going to click OK. And that's going to set up your project for how you're editing next. All right. Now I'm going to show you guys a couple more buttons that'll help you with your editing. Once again, this is a super basic tutorial on how to use and navigate Sony Vegas. On the right-hand side right here, this is going to control your master volume for your whole project. Negative, so when you go down here, if you can see this number right here, it's negative 22. Negative 17 is typically the standard for YouTube videos. Like whatever the YouTube audio is going to be, should be at negative 17 overall. And you can turn up your volume or down your volume in order to hear it on your computer as well. So then next we have the save option. Okay, so one of my biggest things when editing in Sony Vegas or any editing project, you always want to save your project after everything you edit. So I'm going to click save right here, and you can name it whatever you want. I'm just going to name it test, save, and boom, it's saved. Now, say I do something like I press S to split this, and then I click here, press S to split again, and I delete this segment and make it have a little cut right here. So it just cuts to the next part, right? That's an editing progress that I made. So I want to click that save button. I click the save button. You can do Control S too. I just personally like to click the button. But other than that, yeah, that's pretty much what I do when in regards to saving and keeping track of my editing progress. Now there's a few more things I'm going to show you before I end this video. I'm trying to make it as short as possible. 10 minutes is fine. But what else you want to do is in the timeline, if you're trying to add video clips or effects on anything, you can right click on this timeline, this part of the timeline, this track. These are called tracks. So you have track 1 and track 2. So you're going to right click and it's going to bring up this menu. Now you can insert a video track and that gets inserted directly above it. So here, for instance, is where you would put your overlays or like other effects to transition in between clips. The same thing can be done for the audio. So this is the audio. This red part right here is the audio. You're going to right click and you can insert audio track and it'll add an audio track above that. Now another handy thing that I'm going to show you guys is you can actually record your own audio within the audio track. You don't have to use a separate software to grab an audio clip and place it in. So in order to record your audio in that specific track, you're going to click this More tab right here, and you're going to click Arm for Record. And when you do that, you pick wherever you want to save it, press OK, and now you can see that this input meter is picking up on me talking. So what I'm going to do is this little button right here in the bottom left, click record, and I am recording. Click it again and it stops, and if I play it back, you can't really hear it that well because I turned the volume down. But that is kind of all what I wanted to cover. I didn't want to go into too much depth. The next couple videos will be more specific little techniques and like buttons and things that you can do in Sony Vegas. We'll get into the editing, like actual editing part, but this is just a brief introduction to the software and kind of how to navigate it, see what's up. If you guys have any questions or want specific tutorials, I am always down to do more. I love making tutorials. If you haven't seen my tutorials playlist, you can click on it here. So that's going to wrap up this video. But like I said, comment if you need to see anything else. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.